Every few weeks, a strange sight appears in the night sky. A perfectly spaced line of glowing dots moves silently overhead, like something out of science fiction. For some people, it's breathtaking. For others, it's unsettling. But almost everyone who sees it asks the same question. What is that? The answer is Starlink.
Broadband mega constellation Starlink.
And whether you realize it or not, it's quietly changing how the entire planet connects to the internet. While Elon Musk's SpaceX is famous for rockets landing themselves and ambitions of Mars, the most transformative thing SpaceX has built so far isn't a spaceship at all. It's an invisible web of satellites wrapping around Earth, designed to bring high-speed internet to places that traditional infrastructure has never been able to reach. And unlike most tech revolutions, this one isn't happening slowly. It's happening at rocket speed. Before we go any further, if you enjoy deep dives into technology, geopolitics, and the real forces shaping the future, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. These stories are unfolding in real time, and Starlink is one of the most important ones to understand. Starlink is SpaceX's broadband mega constellation, a network of thousands of small satellites orbiting Earth in what's known as low Earth orbit, roughly 550 kilometers or about 342 miles above the surface. That distance matters. Traditional satellite internet providers rely on massive satellites parked far out in geostationary orbit, more than 35,000 kilometers away. That distance introduces lag, limited capacity, and high costs. Starlink flips that model completely. By operating much closer to Earth, Starlink satellites can deliver dramatically lower latency, faster speeds, and more flexible coverage. Instead of a handful of giant satellites, Starlink relies on sheer numbers. Thousands of compact, mass-produced satellites constantly moving overhead, handing off signals seamlessly from one to the next. SpaceX launched the first batch of Starlink satellites in 2019. Since then, deployment has been relentless. By late 2025, Starlink has more than 5,000 active satellites in orbit, accounting for the majority of all operational satellites around Earth. No private company, no country, has ever built anything like this at this scale, this quickly. What makes Starlink especially important is not just the technology, but the role it plays inside SpaceX itself. Starlink is widely viewed as the company's economic engine. While SpaceX remains privately held and does not publish detailed financials, credible industry estimates suggest Starlink generated roughly $1.4 billion in revenue in 2022. In November 2023, Elon Musk announced that Starlink had reached cash flow break-even, a major milestone for a capital-intensive infrastructure project. By the end of 2023, analysts at Euroconsult estimated that Starlink could account for as much as 40% of SpaceX's total revenue, potentially exceeding $3 billion annually. That revenue matters because SpaceX's long-term ambitions, including Starship, lunar missions, and Mars colonization, require enormous funding. Starlink isn't just a product, it's how SpaceX finances the future. Adoption has been unusually fast. Traditional satellite internet providers spent decades scaling up to a few 100,000 subscribers. Starlink surpassed 2 million active users in just a few years and is now available on all 7 continents and in more than 60 countries. That growth has been driven largely by people who previously had no good internet options at all. Rural communities, remote regions, islands, and developing areas where fiber or cable simply isn't economically viable. The system itself is remarkably simple for users. A small, flat satellite dish, often called dishy, automatically aligns itself with the satellites overhead. Plug it into power, connect it to Wi-Fi, and you're online. That portability has turned Starlink into something entirely new. Internet infrastructure you can pick up and move. This flexibility has made Starlink indispensable during natural disasters. When hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes, or floods knock out ground-based networks, Starlink terminals can be deployed almost instantly. Emergency responders, hospitals, and aid organizations have relied on it when traditional communication systems failed. Its role in conflict zones has been even more consequential. Starlink became globally visible during the Russia-Ukraine war. In February 2022, at the request of Ukraine's digital minister, SpaceX activated Starlink service across the country after Russian attacks disabled much of Ukraine's communications infrastructure. In many areas, Starlink became the only reliable way for civilians, journalists, and military units to stay connected. Ukrainian officials have repeatedly described Starlink as the backbone of battlefield communications. Its resilience comes from scale. With thousands of satellites overhead, jamming or disabling the network is far more difficult than targeting a handful of fixed communication nodes. SpaceX engineers were also able to push software updates rapidly to counter attempted interference, adapting in real time. However, Starlink's involvement in the war also raised difficult ethical and geopolitical questions. SpaceX has stated that Starlink was never intended to be weaponized. In 2022, Elon Musk declined a request to activate Starlink coverage over Crimea for a planned Ukrainian drone operation, citing fears of escalating the conflict toward nuclear confrontation. That decision sparked intense debate over whether a private individual should wield such influence in a global conflict. By mid-2023, the U.S. Department of Defense stepped in, signing contracts with SpaceX to formally fund and govern Starlink's use in Ukraine. SpaceX also secured a separate defense contract worth up to $70 million to develop Starship, a military-specific version of the network with enhanced security features. Starlink's geopolitical impact has not gone unnoticed. The European Union has committed billions of euros toward developing its own sovereign satellite constellation, expected to reach operational capacity by 2027. China is building a competing low Earth orbit network and has explicitly blocked Starlink from operating within its borders. Taiwan, concerned about over-reliance on any single private provider, has also explored alternative satellite communication strategies. At the same time, Starlink is expanding far beyond consumer internet. It has seen explosive growth in maritime connectivity, securing commitments from more than 4,000 vessels by late 2023, including cargo ships, cruise liners, and offshore platforms. In aviation, hundreds of commercial and private aircraft have signed agreements to equip Starlink terminals, offering high-speed internet in flight with lower latency than legacy systems. Another major frontier is direct-to-cell connectivity. In partnership with telecom providers like T-Mobile in the United States, SpaceX is developing satellites capable of connecting directly to unmodified smartphones. The goal is not high-speed browsing, but basic text, voice, and data access in areas with no cellular coverage. Rural highways, national parks, and remote regions. Apple introduced a limited version of this capability with the iPhone 14 through Globalstar, but Starlink's approach aims for broader coverage and carrier integration. Starlink's rapid expansion has also brought scrutiny from the scientific community. Astronomers have raised concerns about satellite brightness, interfering with optical observations. Early Starlink deployments left visible streaks across telescope images, including those from major observatories and even the Hubble Space Telescope. In response, SpaceX implemented design changes, such as darkened surfaces and sun visors to reduce reflectivity. Radio astronomers face a different challenge. Starlink satellites transmit powerful microwave signals, which can interfere with sensitive radio telescopes. Scientists have called for coordination measures, including temporarily disabling transmissions when satellites pass over major observatories. SpaceX has engaged in ongoing discussions with the scientific community, though concerns remain as satellite numbers continue to rise. Environmental and safety issues have also entered the debate. Starlink satellites are designed to deorbit after roughly 5 years, burning up in Earth's atmosphere. A 2023 FAA Commission report suggested that by 2035, Starlink satellites could account for a large share of the risk from re-entering space debris. SpaceX disputed the analysis, arguing that it relied on outdated data and non-Starlink failure models, and emphasized that its satellites are engineered to fully disintegrate during re-entry. Still, scientists note that the long-term environmental effects of repeatedly burning thousands of satellites in the upper atmosphere are not fully understood. Metallic particles released during re-entry could potentially affect atmospheric chemistry, an area of active research as satellite traffic increases. Looking ahead, Starlink's future growth is closely tied to SpaceX's next-generation rocket, Starship. Unlike Falcon 9, Starship is designed to carry vastly larger payloads at lower cost per kilogram. To maintain and expand Starlink's constellation, while also replacing aging satellites, SpaceX will need Starship to fly regularly and reliably. Delays in Starship development could slow Starlink's expansion and raise costs. Competition is also heating up. Amazon's Project Kuiper has begun launching prototype satellites and plans to start beta service in the mid-2020s. OneWeb, now partially owned by Eutelsat, is expanding its own LEO network. Unlike Starlink, many competitors lack SpaceX's level of vertical integration. SpaceX designs its satellites, manufactures them in-house, launches them on its own rockets, and controls distribution, an advantage that has allowed it to scale faster than anyone else. Starlink's pricing strategy reflects growing competition and market saturation in some regions. While equipment originally cost around $600, SpaceX has run targeted promotions in countries like Canada, Australia, and Japan, offering terminals at steep discounts to spur adoption in underserved areas. This suggests Starlink is transitioning from early explosive growth to a more mature phase focused on optimization and retention. Despite the challenges, few doubt that low Earth orbit broadband is here to stay. These networks offer something fundamentally new: mobility, redundancy, and global reach that ground-based infrastructure can't match. For rural communities, disaster zones, ships at sea, aircraft in flight, and regions caught in conflict, that flexibility is transformative. Starlink is no longer just an internet service. It's infrastructure. It's a geopolitical asset. It's a scientific challenge. And it's a financial pillar for one of the most ambitious companies on Earth. So here's the real question. Should global internet access be controlled by private companies, national governments, or some combination of both? And if Starlink truly succeeds in connecting the entire planet, who gets to decide how that power is used? Let me know what you think in the comments below.